What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hawaii Players Pod. I'm Olivia Austin, and today I'm so excited for our guest. She is the starting setter for your University of Hawaii volleyball team, Kate Ling. Kate, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited. Okay, so just to get right into it, you were born in Indiana.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But you grew up in Texas.
Yes. Yeah. I was born in Indiana. The first 7 years of my life, I lived in a town that only had 1,400 people.
Wow.
So really small town.
Talk about a small town. That's like the definition of a small town.
Yeah. Crazy. My nearest neighbor was 2 miles down the road.
So would you like hop on a horse to go over there?
We had horses. So yes. Yeah. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas when I was 7. So in 2nd grade.
Okay. So you remember growing up in Indiana a little bit?
A little bit. Yeah. Like
So-
I remember like the main parts, but not like day-to-day stuff.
Okay. But you consider like Texas home?
Yeah, I always say I'm from Texas whenever people ask, just because that's where I feel like I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had the most like life there. So
Yeah. So did you was it weird going from the north to the south, or do you not remember as much?
I mean, actually, it wasn't that different because Indiana's like the Midwest, and everyone's kind of hick there. So when we got to Texas, it was like a little bit more stereotypical South, like you wear cowboy boots and do the whole Texas thing, but it was the same the way people talked and the way people like expected things out of you. So it was pretty much
Gotcha.
the same. Yeah.
So when you moved to Texas, did you move to like a farm kind of house, or was it more close to the city?
Yeah. So I moved to the suburbs. Keller, Texas is like actually my hometown, but it had like 40,000 people in the town. So it was a big change that way. But we didn't have enough yard to have horses or anything, so I had to start actually taking horseback riding lessons at ranches nearby. And that's when I started kind of competitive jumping with horses and stuff like that.
Okay, so that was your first sport.
Yeah, soccer was my first sport, but then I went into horseback riding and like jumping and stuff like that. So I did that. I'm a horse girl at heart.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I would have never pegged you for like a horse girl, but I guess
Yeah.
Texas, like that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think my dad he was like really into jumping horses too. He had like trophies and stuff doing that. So he was really into it and he wanted me to do it too. So
Okay, and then did a lot of people do that sport? Is that why you got into it, or just from watching your dad do it?
like literally nobody at school did it. I remember thinking to myself like, I don't know anybody else that does the same after school stuff that I do. Like it was so weird. But then I started getting into like basketball and volleyball, and that's where I made a lot of friends. So
Okay, so you started horse jumping and then you started playing soccer and basketball?
yeah, I did. Well, no, I did soccer first, and then we moved, and we did horseback riding then, and then we moved into basketball and volleyball at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then obviously we know you kind of stuck with volleyball.
Yeah. I quit basketball when I was 12.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so still like middle school age?
Yeah, right before. In Texas, we have like, it goes elementary, intermediate, middle, and then high school.
Okay.
So in my intermediate years was when I had like basketball in my mind.
Okay, cool. And that worked because you were taller. Were you
Yeah.
always taller, or did you like...
I was a huge kid when I was
Okay, yeah.
like I was like 5'10" at I think 13.
That's crazy, because
So-
I was tall too in middle school, and I'm 5'3". So it's like I stopped growing.
Girls are so interesting the way that
So
we
weird.
mature, like, and growing and everything. I feel like we have huge growth spurts, and then our body changes when we're like 17 again.
Yeah, but it's weird because like in high school, like your sophomore to junior year, the boys are so short.
So small.
And then like senior year, they come back from the summer and they're like 6 foot, and you're like,
No.
I was taller than you.
Seriously.
It's so weird. But so when you were, did you grow up with siblings, or were you an only child?
I'm an only child.
I'm an only child.
So
I grew up an only child too. So we have that in common. It's definitely like only child syndrome is real. Like it's
it's
a
so real.
real thing.
So real.
But it's different because like we know how to like play by ourselves and like
Yeah,
do
true.
things on our own.
I loved being an only child. Like I loved doing my own thing. I loved like seeing my cousins like every couple of weekends, but I loved like playing with my Barbies by myself and like just being upstairs by myself while my parents were doing whatever they were doing downstairs. Like I love my alone time.
It was great to like be the center of your parents' attention. Like I look at other people and I'm like, you share your parents?
No, that's so weird.
That's so weird. Like I feel like I would get like so jealous. Like, why are you paying attention to her?
Yeah,
like
same.
she's my sister, but like
For sure.
I would be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But no, being an only child it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And like Christmases and stuff, like you don't have to worry about anybody else. It's just like all about you.
Exactly.
So we definitely have main character syndrome.
Oh, 100%.
I think
I was
everything's
actually
about
talking
me.
to my teammates about that the other day. I was like, it's so hard understanding when I'm in season and my friends like don't have me on their mind 24/7.
Literally.
Like I want to see you with the 20 minutes that I have before practice. And they're like, Kate, I have something else to do. I'm like, why?
It's weird because like, right. So like whenever I was in school and stuff and like, it's the littlest things, but like when I'm like dumping my tray in the cafeteria, I feel like everyone's looking at me and I'm like, Olivia, no one's looking at you.
No one's
It's like, you think that everyone's like staring at you and like judging you, but really nobody's paying attention.
I think that's also a thing though. Like I think only children have, I'm also biased, but I think only children have like more insecurities.
For sure. Because everything's highlighted.
Yeah, exactly.
Our
And
parents
like, we
are
were
paying
never told
attention.
like by our sisters or brothers like, oh, you have to be tougher or whatever. Like we're so soft sometimes.
We're so soft and we're so emotional and
We're so
sensitive.
emotional. I'm the most emotional friend. Like my friends get so annoyed by how emotional I am. I cry about everything.
I feel
Happy,
that.
sad, excited. Like I literally will cry about everything.
Oh my gosh, I was watching a like sloth video and
I
I
would
started
cry.
crying.
Yeah. No, me too. I would do that.
It's so embarrassing.
I'm so emotional though. Like I would literally cry about everything. I do cry about everything.
It's okay. We can cry together. So back to like growing up in Texas and that kind of thing. Did you watch a lot of sports growing up? Like what was your like thing?
Definitely football. I grew up in Indiana. My whole family were Colts fans. So I grew up watching the Colts, and then when we moved to Dallas, my dad was like, we are not becoming Cowboys fans. It's not happening. But everybody at school always loved Cowboys, so I would like try to be like cheating on the Colts for a little bit while I was at school. But I also grew up going to like, my high school had a good football team, so I would go to those games, and I would go to my middle school games, which weren't as good, obviously. And then I would also go to like TCU football games over the weekends and stuff.
Did you guys have like Friday night lights?
Yes.
Love Friday
so
night lights.
Fun. Loved
It's
it.
so different because like, so in Hawaii, like high school football is big-ish.
Yeah.
I'd consider it big. But like in Virginia, well, I grew up in Virginia,
Yeah.
but you grew up in Texas, but like football was like the main sport.
Oh yeah.
Like
No other sports.
yeah, nothing else mattered but football. So like high school football games, the whole town comes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, also because like normally we only had 3 high schools
Okay.
in our town. So
Wow.
no, it was really weird because our high school, all 3 of our high schools, we all shared the same home stadium.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
No,
So like
that's kind of how my school did it too, because we had 5.
yeah.
Just to one stadium.
So we shared the same home stadium. So like every other game you would play away at your home field.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Interesting, but okay, that's nice for like people who don't feel like going 2 towns over though. Just go to the same stadium.
Right. We were talking about like football in the South, like especially college, like that versus Hawaii games are like so different.
Oh, it's black and white.
It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Because
Literally.
so in the South, game days are like a holiday almost. Like
Oh, absolutely. It's a
everybody goes.
celebration.
And like you don't just like show up to a football game,
No.
right?
No. There's preparation for
What?
days before.
You pick out an outfit. Like you go shopping for
You
a
go
new
shopping.
outfit.
Yeah, you do.
Hair is
Absolutely.
done, makeup is on.
Yeah.
Like it's an event.
Exactly. No, I was thinking about this. So on my official visit here, I requested that we go to one of the football games, and it was at the time it was at the Aloha Stadium, so I was super psyched. And I remember texting a few of then they were on the team, now they're my teammates. And I was like, hey, what are you guys wearing to the game? I brought like a dress. I have boots. I don't know if you guys wear boots here. And they were like, no. We're wearing like literally leggings, slippers, and like hoodies. Like
It
we don't do the whole dress up thing. I'm like, what? Like
like
why?
what? Why not?
I want to get dressed up.
Because, like, football games start, like, with the tailgate at, like, 9 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole day thing.
If that. I've literally been to tailgates that started at 7 a.m.
It's crazy. And there's food, and there's drinks, and, like, everybody and their mama shows up, and it's serious. Like, they're dead serious.
People go hard for football games, and tailgating is, like, I know people that literally only go for the tailgate.
Literally.
They don't even go to football games.
At Kentucky, people would come the night before and park.
Yes.
Their trucks?
No, it's like literally a stakeout. Like you just wait. And I remember growing up, actually one time my friends and I, they went. I didn't go because my mom didn't let me. But they went and they stayed in his tailgate, like in the back of the truck. And they like had to boo the visiting team when they were going in for like their morning practice that you have before.
Like the walkthrough?
Yeah. And they literally were booing, like people were booing the team as they were walking into TCU.
Because it's like, it's personal.
It is
like,
personal.
It's not just a football game.
Exactly.
They can never, like, we never just leave it at that. It's always like, you're like beefing with that whole other team for like the whole week before.
Exactly.
And then you get to the tailgate and you're like, at Kentucky when we played Florida, like we actually roasted gators in the parking lot. Like
that is so awesome.
And you can't just get an alligator in Kentucky, right?
No.
You have to like order it frozen, and then like they like roast it like you roast a pig.
That's amazing. That
like,
is so fun. I need to take a visit to Kentucky.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
That's where I went to school, but Texas is probably like way more serious there because you have so many more schools. You have like
we have a lot
Texas
of rivalries going on.
Yeah, Texas Longhorns.
Every school has like a different personality for sure. Like, I don't know. You have like all the preppy rich kids at TCU. It's kind of like the USC of Texas. And then in College Station, it's like all the really smart kids from high school went there, but now they're like crazy partiers.
Right.
There's nothing to do in College Station.
And then like in Texas, like fraternities and sororities are like a really big thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
So then everyone's
That was a big change when I got here too. Like there's no Greek life here.
There really isn't.
And if it is like a Greek life thing, it's to be there and for like to be in there for a year and then you have your friends and you're good. You don't need to pay the dues anymore.
Did you like expect there to be a Greek life? Like were you?
No, I don't think it was really on my radar just because like growing up as an athlete, I knew I wanted to play college sports since I was like 14. I think that was like the first year where I was like, oh, I'm getting really serious into this. Like I have a set position now. Like I want to start recruiting at 15. Like
wow.
Because I was committed here at 16 and I got my offer at 15.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I've like known I was going to be here for 4 years before I got here.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So then when did you start getting like recognition from colleges?
When I was 14. That's when I got my first letter. Which
And
was
then,
crazy because you're not even developed as a player or a person yet. Like your body's not even developed.
That's how serious college sports are though.
It's insane.
Like they're looking at you.
But it's also a gamble. Like I know plenty of girls that they peaked at 15 years old.
That's true. And you don't know like if you're going to end up with like injury, if you're going to fall out of love with the sport.
Exactly. Getting burned out of sports is like such a real thing. People overtrain, they overthink it, they overobsess. Like it's not healthy at that point. And I feel like that's why a lot of college athletes only last like 3 years, 2 years because they can't take it anymore.
I went to school with a girl who she was I think a year or two below me. She committed to Virginia Tech for softball in 8th grade.
That's crazy.
Like she was the only person in our town that like had an offer, and she ended up being incredible. Like she was an incredible pitcher at Virginia Tech.
Honestly, if like my 15-year-old self would choose a school, I'm sure I would choose UH again because I love it here. But I know so many girls that chose the wrong school, and I think that's why the transfer portal is such a big part of our like today life. Because you can't put pressure on a tween like that. Like you're not even a teenager at 14. Like you're not even into high school yet. Why are you making this huge decision for 4 years of your life? Probably turning into 5 or 6. I know people that have been in college for 7.
I know people who have been in college longer than that.
Yes. And it's just crazy. Like I cannot believe that we put so much pressure on kids.
And that's a side of sports that a lot of people don't see. Like it is incredible and it is like amazing to see people like perform at their highest at the highest level and like be great, but like it starts like before you even know what you're doing. Really, if you're going to be one of the greats, like it really does start when you're like a kid and you have to like it's rare for a kid to have that mentality to like go that far.
Yeah, it is. It really is. That's honestly why I respect my coach so much, is because we still have girls committing at like 17 years old. Like that's a great age. That's when that's when everyone else is making the decision of like what college they want to go to, how far away from home they want to be. And I feel like that's why our program has like a lot of great girls that are like ready to be here, and they're really dedicated, because we don't, like, my coach doesn't push people to make decisions.
Yeah. And I mean, you can always decommit. Like, it's not
True.
You know, you have until like signing day.
True. Yeah.
But it's also, and it's good to know that you have the opportunity and you are good enough to like go if you want to go.
Yeah.
But no, there's definitely like a dark side to
absolutely
college sports. But people that do it and they love it and they have the love for it, usually they end up being great, one of the greats.
Yeah.
You know? So going back to when you were younger, who was the person that really pushed you to like take volleyball seriously?
Ooh, that's a good question. Actually, my parents did not really push me to take volleyball seriously.
Really?
Which is interesting. They were just kind of like, we want you to stay active and we want you to do what you love, which I absolutely loved that my parents were like that. I was really lucky that my parents were like that. They were the type of parents that like I didn't get in the car after a loss and they were like, you should have done this, this, and this. They're like, okay, where are we going to eat? Like, let's go get some tacos, which I love.
That's nice.
I think just growing up, like with the coaches that I had, I played for male coaches my entire like growing up, basically. I played for, I think, 3 women out of like the 12 coaches that I had growing up. So,
really?
Yeah. And that was like, my female coaches were all in high school. So all my club coaches, except for one, were male. And I think that growing up with like that type of environment in the club scene was, it was kind of what made me lock in more, because those guys, they were so serious all the time. And I felt maybe how they took it so seriously was why I took it so seriously, because I was like, okay, I have to lock in right now. So probably just my coaches.
Yeah. And just like wanting to be as good as them, and like it helps like seeing other people that have done it and like wanting to strive to be like that.
Totally.
Too. That definitely like is always a big motivator.
Yeah. I also was really lucky to be on a club team that every single one of the girls on my club team committed to a D1 college.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like a definite thing. Like all of us were locked in and being surrounded by so many girls. And I was honestly not friends with a lot of people in high school. I was just friends with people on my club team. So I have like my 4 locked in friends that were on my club team, and they were all very seriously. I mean, we had Stanford commits. We had 2 Stanford commits. We had UCLA, Texas, LSU, Indiana University. We had 2 of those. And we just had like all these girls that were going all over the country together, and we honestly pushed each other in our own ways.
Like that like mindset.
Yeah. It was just kind of we had it in common, and we were just like ready to go all the time.
It's funny that you say that your parents didn't like push you, but they wanted you to be active, because I feel like Southern parents, like they think that to keep you out of trouble, like you have to play sports.
Yeah.
Like they associate like not being in trouble and like not having like the time to like get into like bad things. They're like, oh, you need to play sports. You need to stay active. You need to, you have too much time on your hands. Like if you don't have the time to like get in and like hang out with your friends, then like you don't have time to get in trouble.
Yeah, that was a constant conversation between my parents and I, was like making sure that I always have a balanced life, like being social and having friends and making time for friends and making time for boys, and like having that part of my life and wanting to experience those things while also being really serious about sports. I mean, there was a lot of tears for sure. Yeah. But I think that I'm just really lucky to have parents that were pushing me to still go out on Saturdays with my girlfriends and go to the movies and like experience high school things and like get in trouble. Like my parents never, like whenever I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, they never like really raked on me about it. They were just like, you know better than that. And then I would get grounded, or I would do something, but it was nice because they knew that I was like, this was a part of the development of like my character. Yeah. And I'm just so appreciative of how my parents went in on that.
Yeah.
It was so great.
No, that's definitely a great thing to have, and like have good parents in your corner like makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it really does.
So when you were talking about high school and how you had like your 4 friends, was it hard for you to make friends like in high school? Like, did you feel isolated because you were like playing sports?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I had a hard time making friends in high school and like prioritizing sports was always a part of my mindset. But I think I didn't have a lot in common with people in high school.
Mm-hmm.
My high school wasn't like super good at sports, and I was taking volleyball very seriously by the time I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only a few people that, like, I think it was swimmers and me, and I think we had one person on our football team that went to college for football, and that was like a D3 school.
Okay.
So I didn't have anything in common with people in high school, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, other than wanting to go to the football games on Fridays, like, I just really didn't click with a lot of people. And I think also sports made it to where I was very team minded.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like those ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And when girls were mean to me or guys were mean to me, like, especially being the tall kid, I was always odd. But when people were mean, I just like am so no BS. So I just would cut people off.
Yeah.
And like not talk to them anymore.
Yeah, and like growing up in the South, it is kind of like, for people that haven't been there, like it is kind of like the movies, like how girls are mean.
Girls
and like
are so mean.
Like they do isolate you if you're not into the same thing, because like they're focused on like going to college to rush or
there are like sorority mindsets in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not matching that energy, then they're just like, okay, well, next.
Mm-hmm.
I need people that are going to be.
It's very cliquey, and it's very like it's different. Like senior year, like girls are like, and when normal people are like focused on like prom and stuff, and like they're also focused on that thing, but like it's senior year, like girls are doing debutante and they're like know doing cotillion and like things like that, and it's like something that a lot of people don't understand.
Absolutely.
That like they're more focused on like place in society, and like that's when you like kind of get introduced to like society. Yeah. If you're like that kind of right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like the girls that did sports and like were more edgy and like rough around the edges, they were like, ew.
Yeah, literally. And I, speaking of prom, like I didn't even go to prom.
You didn't go to prom?
No, I had volleyball.
Oh my God.
I actually had to be here, I think.
You were in Hawaii during prom?
Yeah, I had to be here by then. So I didn't even go to prom. Like I did the whole, like senior, did you guys have like homecoming, like with mums?
No.
It's a Texas thing. So your senior year, you're supposed to have, well, every year, if you have a date to homecoming, you have like this fake flower bouquet that you wear. That's like has a thing around your neck, and then it's like this big flower thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but no, we didn't have that.
We had that, and like I had that, thank goodness, because I really cared about that and wanted to be on that. And I was on homecoming court and like did the whole thing.
Me too. I was homecoming queen.
Really?
I was. It's kind of embarrassing to say.
No, that's cool. That's so fun.
When you choose a primary care physician affiliated with our sponsor, Hawaii Pacific Health, they take a personalized approach to prevention, wellness, and a healthier you. Learn more at hawaiipacifichealth.org/primary care. So in high school, I know that you went through a lot like during high school.
Yeah.
And, how did like what you went through kind of affect like where you are today?
So my dad passed away when I was 16. And it was very unexpected. So my mom and I went through a lot of life changes very quickly. And I think that that's another way of like how I kind of cleared house with friends. I definitely learned a lot about myself the first year after he passed away, about like what I want out of my friends and what I want out of myself. So yeah, I think I was able to keep like, I think I have a total of 4 or 5 friends from Texas, and it was after he passed away that I was able to like really just settle in with them, and I also got a lot closer with my mom, so it made it hard whenever I moved out here for college. So yeah, I think I just learned a lot. I had to mature really quickly.
Yeah.
Like I had to figure out stuff by myself, and I wasn't like daddy's little girl anymore where I was able to like call him if anything happened. So I had to kind of figure that stuff out, and I had to take care of my mom too, because it's a whole different loss. Like losing your father versus losing someone you've been married to for 27 years is like, it's such a different type of loss, and having to like make sure she's okay and make sure I'm okay, but also having to like deal with how people are talking to me. Like a lot of people don't know how to speak to a 16-year-old whenever a parent passes away, which is totally fine. I understand. But I had a lot of people putting pressure on me to like take care of my mom.
Right.
And like make sure she's okay. And I understand needing to do that, but I also think that that was way too much pressure for me. And having people say that to me, I think that's where my anxiety started a lot.
Okay.
And like having to deal with how many worries I had on top of I'm going to college in a year or in a year and a half. I'm moving across the country to Hawaii in a year and a half. Like I'm leaving my mom behind, who's now like a new widow, and she has no one in Texas because we moved to Texas 10 years ago and none of our family came with us. So it was just the three of us, and having like those worries and then someone telling me that I need to take care of my mom, I'm like, okay, that's a lot to worry about right now. And I'm still like trying to think about how my dad is gone. Like it was so much going on, and I really do think that's like the stem of my anxiety and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it was really tough.
That's a lot of pressure to like take on, like not only your mourning and like having to re-navigate life as you know it or knew it.
Yeah.
And then also trying to be there to support your mom because, like you said, you're an only child, so it was just y'all two left. So it was just, I can't even imagine like what that grief felt like, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. And anxiety is a serious thing. Like,
it is.
It's no joke, especially at 16. That's such a weird age.
It is. It's a big developmental year. Like you're getting your license. You are about to start taking your SATs for college, which thank goodness I didn't really have to worry about. Like I had to take my SATs, but it's different when you're an athlete. Like you have to make the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
And for UH at the time, like I think it's actually higher now, but at the time, like UH didn't have a super high SAT score that needed to be there. So thank goodness for that. But there's so many like outside life pressures that are going to come your way during 16, 17, and then 18 is like even crazier.
Yeah.
But that's also another thing. Like I had so many other things coming at me, and I was trying to understand this at the same time, and it was a mess.
Yeah. Did you ever consider like not going to college at that point? Did you consider, just because I understand that it was probably a lot, like did you have like that kind of guilt leaving?
Yeah, I don't think I ever really, I don't think it came across my mind to not go to college. I got a call from my assistant coach at the time. Shout out Coach Ange. But she called me one day and she was like, if you don't want to come here anymore, we understand. Like to UH. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I'm not going to come here anymore?
Yeah.
Like I committed to you guys. I'm gonna do it. Like I'm not gonna, just because like some crazy life thing happened, like I committed to you guys. So I think that shows my dedication as a person.
Yeah.
Like the craziest possible thing can happen in my life and I'm still gonna stick to my word. So that's definitely was a loyalty type of experience for me. So that was cool. But going back to the college thing, my mom asked me one day, she was like, do you want to go somewhere else? Like, because UH wasn't my only school that was on my radar whenever I was going through the recruitment process. But by the time Dad passed away, I had already committed. So she was like, do you want to, we have friends around here, like every college that I went to, I ended up having really great relationships with, like all the colleges that I went to visit. I ended up having great relationships with a lot of the head coaches and a lot of the assistant coaches too, in which I still talk to some of them today. Like when I see them, I love talking to them and catching up. But, and I knew that they would help me if I needed it because they just were good people. So I had options of trying to decommit from UH and going somewhere else, but I just knew that I wanted to go to UH. So I was like, why not? Like, what's the difference between living, 20 minutes away from my house at TCU if I want to go there, versus an 8-hour flight.
Right.
Like, I'm still going to be away from my mom, and I'm not, and I knew coming here I would be able to have that true college experience, and my mom wanted that for me.
Yeah.
So coming here was a good thing, even though it is very far away. It was a good thing still.
It is. And you've done amazing here. Like, you've done great.
It's been a good ride so far.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're happy with your decision, and I know that UH Athletics is happy to have you. And you really have been amazing. Like, I've seen your games and stuff. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, I hope you feel like you made the right decision.
I think I did, yeah, for sure. I think coming out here was, it was a big change. I definitely don't think I'm the same person now that I was when I first got here. There's been a lot of growth. Even within, like, the first year, I was able to figure out, like, again, what I wanted out of my friends in college.
Right.
Like, are these people helping me or are they keeping me down?
Right.
And I think in college, too, you just have those life lessons no matter where you go, what you're doing.
Yeah, life lessons that you don't always ask for.
Exactly. Yes. But yeah, so I'm appreciative of my decision here, and I think I made the right one.
What was it like navigating all of that? Because you're a 2020 grad.
Yes.
So what was it like doing all of that on top of and like during COVID?
So I didn't go to prom because I had to be here so I could start quarantining. I had a graduation, but it was, so they picked your name out of a hat, basically. There was 700 people in my graduating class.
Wow.
But only 1/4 of them got to go. So only me and one friend from, like, my
Oh my goodness.
big group of people that, like, all went to football games together and stuff. There's only me and one other friend that was at my graduation.
That you like got to walk across the stage and stuff.
Yeah, we had
That's
to wear
so crazy.
masks.
I wonder what
and we had to be 6 feet apart, and it was crazy.
I wonder what like the rhyme or reason was that for? Because they could have like done like a
4
week
different
of like everybody getting to do
That's
that.
what we were all saying. So
But
it was crazy. Yeah, during COVID was just insane. Like, my last semester of senior year was completely online, and I didn't go to school ever. So, and that had been just after Dad passed away. So I didn't go to school I went to school for 1 semester of my senior year, but then in my junior year, like during that spring, was like, because my dad passed away in December. So during that spring semester, I didn't go to school. Like, I would go, and then I would just have like panic attacks or anxiety attacks during class and have to leave. So most of the part of my last semester of my junior year, I just didn't go to school. So I really, for the last like year and a half of high school, I didn't have much of an experience because of Dad and then COVID. So
and dealing with mental health in like a time where you have to stay at home is like a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
crazy.
Almost scary.
It is, yeah. And at the time, like, my mom and I were going through so many changes with like housing and stuff. We were moving out of our house and moving into an apartment. So like, it was just, I didn't have like my safe space anymore outside of school. So actually it turned into being my car. Like, I would literally just sit in my car for hours and watch YouTube and like chill and just try to be by myself in my own safe space. And because I didn't have like my room anymore.
Right.
I had like my apartment room, which didn't ever feel like my room.
It doesn't feel like home.
Yeah.
Like,
so.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've really been through a lot. But you're so like,
I'm chilling.
You're just so happy. Yeah. I mean, it's just, things like that, like it's hard, but you just have to like keep moving and just know things are always going to get better.
Yeah.
And, go through it and cry and be sad and like have a minute. But just always like going forward and moving forward. And it's amazing that you're able to do that and then come and play at such a high level and be so far away from home.
Yeah. I'm really appreciative of Coach Rob whenever I have like bad days and stuff, because she also went through a lot during her volleyball career. So she just like understands me a lot, and I think that's why I have stayed here, because there's been tough moments of volleyball. Like, every college athlete knows that like you're going to have the toughest moments where you think you're not going to do it anymore. And Coach Rob has ripped me out of those moments and like really helped me. So I'm really appreciative of the school that I chose with the coaches that I chose because they get it. So
I met your coach and she is very nice.
She's wonderful.
She's a really wonderful woman. And I think it's a testament to like what it's like to play under such a strong woman.
Oh my God, yeah.
And like learning from like such an incredible like person that not only says, you know, things, but also like lives it. And it's like preaches it, and she practices what she preaches. And I think that that's really admirable, and it's really important for young women to have that leader.
Totally.
And I think that's sometimes the difference between playing for a male coach and a woman coach, is being able to like lead by example and know what they're going through and understand your athletes better. So like she was able to be there for you in ways that maybe another coach wouldn't have.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. She gets it, which is so nice.
So what were you most excited about coming to Hawaii, other than playing volleyball, of course?
I think outside of like anything volleyball, I think I was excited about being able to study something that I'm actually interested in. In high school, I like literally could not stand going to class.
Really?
Having to learn about things that I didn't care about. Like, I didn't want to take any more math classes. I was done with science. Like, I'm so not a STEM girly. I cannot do it. So I'm a political science major, and I'm obsessed, and I want to go into law school after college. So I was so excited to, like, actually enjoy school.
Okay, so you want to be a lawyer then?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I
That's
would love
amazing.
to be a lawyer. I'm trying to get in. I need to get in.
Well, you made all Mountain West academic honors.
True.
So I think you're in a good. I think you're doing.
Hopefully they care about that. Hopefully admissions cares about that.
I'm sure they will. And you're
listening.
Yeah. Shameless plug to admissions.
Literally.
But no, and you're a senior academically, but you're a junior in volleyball, correct?
Yeah. So I have like one semester that I'm going to be in school still for my 5th year, but it's really nice because I'm in a program at school where we do like a final research project for the last year and a half that you're in school. And so that extra semester just gives me extra time to research my topic. So that's like really nice.
Okay, so you don't plan on like being a graduate?
No, I won't be going into grad school.
Okay.
I'll just be staying in my undergrad for that last semester and just like doing one class.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So like, do you have a favorite thing to do like in Hawaii, like beach, hike, or?
I love beaching. It's so fun. I'm obsessed with being in the sun. I'm like in love with it.
I know I always see on your Instagram, you're always at the beach.
I'm always at the beach. If I have an off day, I'm at the beach. And it's really nice. I love going to North Shore, West Side. I loved going east, but it's also nice because I feel like here in South Shore, you can just like go down to Diamond Head and like chill for 30 minutes, and then you can like go about the rest of your day, and like it's so nice. I'm obsessed. I love going to the beach.
No, the beach is great, and it's definitely like way cooler out here than like the Texas heat. Like it doesn't get like scorching crazy.
It's not like a dry heat here where you feel like you're just melting. It's more of like a humidity thing here, so that's nice because you can just get in the water and like feel better.
Cool off. So what, like in terms of food, do you like in Hawaii? Because there's so much to choose from.
So something that I didn't even know existed before I got here was butter mochi.
Ooh.
And that is like my biggest obsession.
Really?
Like I'm obsessed with butter mochi. I'm obsessed with
it. Is that the kind that has like ice cream on top of it?
No, it's like picture like mochi but with like almost softer in a way. And it has like a crust at the top of it, and it can come in different flavors too.
I can't say that I've ever tried that.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. There's like
Where do you
people,
get it from?
you can be like in the Safeway parking lot, and people will like come up to your car and they'll be like, "We're selling butter mochi for a donation to the church," and I'll be like, "Sold," and I'll eat the entire thing.
Do they do that at Queens? Because I feel like
they do.
I think that I've like ran into those people before.
I'm obsessed.
And I always just give them like a $5 and just like take the donation. I don't ever take the food. Because I don't like eating on the beach. The sand like gets in my food and
okay.
I can't.
Yeah.
But no, I always try to like donate if I can.
Yeah.
But is that where like you like to get butter mochi or?
No, I have like I have an auntie that makes really good butter mochi. So she makes it for me, and then we also have it at like booster potlucks and stuff too. Like there's a bunch of aunties that make it. So homemade butter mochi is so good.
Nice. And then when you're at the beach, do you bring a volleyball with you?
It kind of depends on who I'm with. Recently, I've been with like some of my friends that are on the football team, and one of my best friends is on the beach volleyball team. So we like will bring a ball and make fun of our guy friends who don't know how to do anything because they love being macho and like trying to say that like volleyball is an easy sport, but then they can't do anything. So it's just funny.
It's totally not. I played volleyball, like beach volleyball at Queens, just like for fun.
Yeah.
It's so not easy.
Oh,
especially, I'm 5'3".
It's definitely not easy for people that are 5'3".
And I get like stuck in the sand, and the sand is hot.
Yeah.
First and foremost, the sand is hot.
Yeah, it's really hot.
Holy heck.
That's why people have to wear socks, like protective socks.
That's why they wear socks?
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense. It's like a light bulb moment for me. I never understood that. That makes so much sense.
It's the whole sock thing, for sure.
It's funny that you're a setter. So whenever I played volleyball, like, at rec when I was in, like, middle school. So, like, when they're like, hey, we need another person for volleyball, I'm like, okay. So I go over there and I make a fool of myself every time. But it's fun, but I can't set the volleyball. My little nimble fingers will not.
I have really small hands too, actually.
But then I went to your game like a couple days ago, and I was watching you do it, and I was like, that looks so easy. And I think you just make it look easy.
I actually think to myself every single ball, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to mess this up so bad.
Seriously?
That's literally what goes through my head.
It looks like second nature to you. And I'm like...
It's because I've had so many touches is why it looks like that. But yeah, no, setting is so hard. No, I still think it's hard. It is hard, for sure. It's hard.
And you had something like 58 career. Was that your career high setting?
I think so.
It's like something crazy.
Something like that.
Assist.
I don't really pay attention to stats like that. So when people tell me, I'm like, oh, great, sweet. I didn't even know that I got that 58.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that was like your career high last year.
Cool.
Which is insane.
That's sweet.
So whenever you're playing like at the stand or wherever you're playing traveling, do you like have any like pregame things that you do?
Yes. So every game day at home, I have a coffee in the morning. And
iced vanilla latte?
Yes. She knows my order. I have my coffee in the morning, and then I don't eat anything until 3 p.m. So I'm like not fasting because coffee, but because I put milk in it. But like I basically fast because I don't eat anything until after practice. I have whatever we have for pregame meal. I'll have like a little bit of it, and then I literally have sweets for the rest of the day.
Really?
Like I have so much sugar on game days. I think that's the only reason that I can get through.
Is that like your adrenaline like craving?
I think so. Like I have Skittles, pineapple. I'll have like. Recently, we've had like Rice Krispie treats.
Ooh,
like, that's been a thing for me. But I like don't eat. I'm a very like healthy person outside of like game days. I don't have like sugar very often. I'm really low carb. Like I eat vegetables and chicken. That's about it. But when it comes to game days, like I'm going nuts in the locker room with candy. Like I
Interesting. So do you like bring the candy with you, or
we have like people donate candy to us all the time. Like they bring game day candy for us. So it's just so cool. And we just have this big bar in our locker room full of candy and sweets. So I just go ham at that bar. It's so fun. And then right before our game, I have a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Diet Coke. Those are the best.
That's like my what did I call it one time? Called it my
like your guilty pleasure?
My comfort drink.
Comfort drink?
My comfort drink is my Diet Coke.
It's like a little hug.
Yes, it is. Like I will be like sobbing crying, and if I have a Diet Coke, I'll stop crying. And nothing's wrong anymore.
Everyone has like that one thing. Like for me, it's ginger ale.
I love ginger ale. Ginger ale's so good. That's a Southern thing.
I know.
It is.
'Cause, like, whenever I'm sick, I like don't feel guilty about drinking it.
No, never.
So I'm like, oh, my tummy hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like, do you listen to music?
Yeah, I listen to music. I kind of listen to whatever's on in the locker room. I don't like have my own headphones or anything like that. I like being like a part of the team, like being like engaged and active in the conversation.
Yeah.
But like in the morning when I'm driving from my house to the school for like serve and pass, our pregame practice, I usually just listen to like my regular SZA, like R&B, soul, whatever it is, like that type of music, chill music. I don't really listen to like hard rap or I like country music, but I have to be like in the screaming zone. Like I have to be like excited about country. So, but I just listen to a lot of like very chill music.
I'm like obsessed with Luke Combs right now.
Oh, he's great.
It's like my favorite thing.
Great. I love Daniel Caesar right now. That's not country, but I love that's like also what I listen to. SZA
like kind of that like vibey music.
Yeah, it just like makes me chill.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I can relate to that for sure. So then like what would you consider like the hardest part of being a student athlete?
I think just like carrying on with being like emotionally stable enough to keep going to class and being social and trying to like still have your life outside of volleyball or outside of your sport. I think that's really tough. Like, I don't think school is like super tough. I think that it's like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And as long as you do the work, you're going to be fine. But I think definitely like going to class, making sure you're getting enough rest. Like I'll run you through one of my days. Okay. So I have weights at 7
a.m.
So I have to get up at 5:45. And then weights from 7 to 8. I have class right now I have class at 10 a.m. So I'll have class at 10 to like 11:30. And then I have treatment at 12. Well, not 12. I'll have treatment at 1 because the training room's closed. But I have to make sure I get something to eat, go to treatment. Then I practice from 3 to 6. Then I get home after treatment at probably 8. And I have an hour to myself before I need to go to sleep. So having to do that like 5 days a week and just constantly like go, you don't do anything outside of like school, volleyball, and treatment.
Yeah. And you didn't even mention homework. Like you still have to fit in time to do homework and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's like, I try to get my homework done very early in the week because if I don't, then I'll just like feel so overwhelmed. And also I try to leave my homework to before practice because when I get home from practice, I need to have like some type of like hour of me time where I'm just like, if it's scrolling on my phone, it's scrolling on my phone.
Yeah,
like,
it is what I just need sometimes. It.
Yeah. I need to be on the phone with my mom, like talking to her about whatever's going on. Like that's about it. So if I can get my homework done within the hour before treatment in class, then I can get my homework done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough just like having to make sure you're like going from thing to thing to thing with no breath in between.
Yeah. And we were talking about it before we started recording, how your game the other day, you didn't get home until like 11:30.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, so the game before, we were hosting a tournament and the game before had 5 sets and then we had a 5-setter. So I didn't get home until 11:30. And at that point, your adrenaline's going so hard. I didn't go to bed until 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you can't just go home and go to sleep after that.
No, because my heart's racing and I'm talking to my mom on the phone. It's like 6 a.m. for her. She's like about to go to work. I'm like, I need to go to sleep, but I can't. I know I'm not going to sleep. And all my teammates are up, so they're all texting me about the game or whatever. And we're just like I'm like giggling, like I need to go to sleep, but I can't because my mind is racing and yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, and then being able to fall asleep and then finding that to get up again at 5:45 the next morning.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you have any advice for anybody that's like struggling with that balance?
Yeah, my advice would be to do get your homework done before practice type of thing so that when you get home from practice, you feel like your day's over.
Right.
And then you can like really chill. I've been like doing this thing where I get home and I just will watch a rom-com or like, it's so embarrassing. I'll watch like a rom-com, a horror movie, or I like literally will be on the phone with my mom for an hour. Like those are my 3 things that I do. But I feel like that's like a good routine to have because it's stuff that I actually enjoy, but it's not something that will tire me out. So I can like rest and do this at the same time. So it's not making me worse for practice the next day, but it's also not making me feel like a robot.
Yeah.
So
no, that's really important. My uncle is a psychologist, And he told me like taught me like this little trick a couple years ago. He's like, when you get home and you're not done and you still have things to do, don't take your shoes off. So
That's
you're
cool.
saying like when you take your shoes off, your mind goes, my day's over.
Yeah.
So if you like go home and you don't take your shoes off and you just keep doing, then you can kind of trick your mind into being like, we're not done yet.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It might work for some people. I tried it a couple times. I didn't always work for me, but just like little mind
That's
tricks.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting because here, like, we take our shoes off before we get into the house.
At the door. True.
Yeah.
True.
So, like, I feel like that would be interesting. I'm going to have to, like, get a vacuum.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but just like a little, I'm trying to trick your mind sometimes. So then what's like the legacy that you want to leave at UH Athletics? I know you still have another year after this one, but is there anything that you want to be remembered for?
I don't really care about like myself being remembered, but I definitely want to, like, next year I'm going to be the only like 5th year on the team. And I really want to leave the mindset for my girls to like just absolutely be so empowered of being a girl in sports. Like, I am so pro girl, feminist. Like, I'm obsessed with like just empowering women and like not caring about anything else really, and just go for it. Do what you want. Like, you don't have to be a mom right now. You don't have to be a wife. You don't have to be anything you want. Like, you can do literally anything you want in your 20s. So, and for the rest of your life, given that, like, do absolutely what you want and do not care about anything that society tells you that you need to be doing. So I hope that my teammates and like my young girls that I'm going to be their senior next year, I hope that they have that with them and like they remember like to just not care and to just do what makes them happy.
Be unapologetically you.
Absolutely. Like, I'm just obsessed with that like ideal. Like, it's just my favorite thing in the world.
And that's amazing.
Really hope that the girls remember that.
I think that they will, and I think a lot of people get that from you, especially after listening today. I think that people will know you and understand you better and know that like there's a lot more to you than just volleyball.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm more than just a setter.
Absolutely. So much more. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so much fun.
This was great. This was like maybe 30 minutes worth of our 2-hour-long conversation.
I know. We talk. We just ramble.
We do.
Kate has merchandise out.
Do you
want to tell them about that?
Yeah, it's on katelangofficial.com. You can buy t-shirts, hoodies, crop tops, and there's like a bunch of hats and stuff. But you can also, for NIL inquiries, you can fill out a little contact thing that's on the website and it'll go directly to me. So.
Yeah. Well, we're supporting you and we were so happy to have you today. And go Bows!
Go Bows!